we can't quite figure it out, but it may be about 2016-ish. So it's lovely to get to connect with you again, Leona, and as a way to just to talk about some of the administrative things before we get into the official introduction of Leona. We are, as you see, we're recording this session. If at the end of the session there's any part that you feel particularly aware of maybe sharing something more than you would have liked to have public, please connect with any of us on the committee to let us know, and we can potentially edit out that piece, or if there's a real need, we can just not upload this to our YouTube channel. So keep that in mind. As we all know, with transactional analysis, as we're doing our own work, things might shift inside for us. So keep aware of any of the work that you need to be doing and take responsibility for yourself to keep yourself safe. So to introduce Leona, Leona Bishop is a CTA student in the organizational field. She's currently based on the lovely island of the Caribbean called Curacao. She's a functional fluency coordinator for the Caribbean and trainer, and is an organizational and leadership development coach. She's been working with functional fluency and TIFF, which is Temporal Index of Functional Fluency, and has greatly increased her own personal and professional effectiveness through her work with that. She loves sharing her learning and enabling coaches and other professionals to continue their own growth in their roles. She's introduced functional fluency in the Caribbean in 2016 and has trained 12 other professionals to become licensed TIFF professionals. And it's with these TIFF providers that they are currently working on a project that she's going to be talking to us today about. So again, Leona, thank you, and I'll hand over the floor to yourself.
And thank you also for inviting me to do this. And it's my first real webinar, so it's really very exciting to do. And yes, I think maybe it's nice to just get to know each other. A number of you I do know, but some people I don't know. So maybe it would be a good idea just to have a short introduction. Who's who, and so what's your name and where are you located? And also I'm really curious to know what prompted you to sign up for this webinar. And I also have a question. If you can think about what is your biggest challenge you have or have had connected with an adverse circumstance. So what is your biggest challenge you have or have had, which is connected with an adverse circumstance? So who would like to start?
I'll kick off. Hi, everyone. My name is Alex. I live in McGregor in South Africa. I was introduced to TA in about 2001. Marguerite has actually been a big part of my TA journey, as well as Karen and Leona. I practice as a coach and a coach supervisor. Do you want details about the adverse circumstances, or is it just a question for me to keep in my mind?
Yeah, keep in your mind, yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go next. My name is Simpiwe Mahlanyana, and I currently sit in Cape Town, South Africa. And whenever people ask me what I do, I always struggle to respond because I do everything.
Yes, you do.
Working with Leona, working with Kirsty, Karen, Andrew, and Alex. And yeah, also working with Layo, which Rodin knows. And what prompted me to join this webinar is I'm at the moment developing a facilitation course for NGOs, NPOs, using functional fluency as a framework. And so I'm absorbing any and everything that has to do with functional fluency, people's experiences, and yeah, and what I could incorporate into the course. So yeah.
Great, great. Thank you, Sin.
I can go next. My name is Kirsty Melmid. I'm treasurer for the SATAA and a life coach in Cape Town, South Africa. Been working for myself for about 5 years. Been studying TA for about 5.5 years. On the road to CTA, the very slow and long road to CTA, but loving it. And yeah, I work with people in a personal capacity, so I don't really do much corporate work at all, and kind of bring together my own different modalities of spiritual work, energy work, coaching, transactional analysis, and it just makes this big melting pot that is me. And love it. And yeah, looking forward to today. I'm curious to hear about the project and learn a little bit more about functional fluency as well.
Thank you.
Hello, my
Hi.
name is Ioannis. I am from Athens, Greece.
Oh, Greece. Tikanis.
Oh, excellent. Thanks a lot.
Polikola.
Polikala, yes. Polikala. And I am a licensed psychologist. And the last 3 years, I'm doing PA training. And next year, I will give exams for CTA. And I'm happy to be here.
And what prompted you to sign up, Yanis?
Excuse me?
What prompted you to sign up, to join the seminar, Yanis?
I'm interested always to learn about TA. And now in Greece, we have a lot of time, free time, because we have lockdown. So I try to spend my time to education.
Okay, great. Whereabouts are you on Greece?
Excuse me?
Whereabouts are you on Greece?
In Athens.
In Athens, okay. Great, thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Marguerite Sacco and I'm in Cape Town, South Africa. I'm an organizational CTA and I'm preparing for the TEW next year and then to go on to the TSTA exams. And I'm here just because anything TA and to be a part of the TA community, and also just to look at and interested in different applications and uses of TA. How do other people use it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jose, and at the moment I live in London.
Sorry, you're difficult to hear. Can you turn up the volume?
Can you hear me now?
A bit better, yes.
Yeah, okay. My name is Zohre, and at the moment, so I am a psychotherapist training, and because as you said, I am interested in anything related to TA. Before in 2016, I was for a while interested on TA, organizational TA with Julie Hay. And so she sent me the link. Yes. And as always, I am interested in anything related to TA. So that was my reason to participate.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm happy to go. I'm Karen. I'm in Fishhook, in a little suburb of Cape Town near the sea. I'm a TSTA in the educational field. And Suzanne and I have been quite good mates over many years. I remember a beautiful fun day touring Sydney together after a conference. So I've got a sense of her functional fluency work, and I'm really interested to see how you apply it to Leona.
Okay, thank you. So who do we have? Christina, Rodine?
Good afternoon, colleagues. I'll go next. It's Rodine. Sorry. I'm not going to put my video on. I've just really got very bad connection today, but I'm happy to be with everybody. Good to see the people that I know, Karen, Sim. So Rodine, I work at the University of Johannesburg. I work there full-time and I coach as well. I am currently doing TA training with Karen, first full year. And currently I've also signed up for the TIF licensed provider training in South Africa. And I'm currently based in Gauteng, Johannesburg. So I'm quite excited to see the connection, Leona, and hear about your project and the use of TIF.
Okay, so you're training with Lio?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry. You're muted, unmute, yeah.
Sorry, so I'm going to say that again. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry to be a few minutes late. So for MI, I'm also a coach, like I think many of us here. I'm based in London. And why TA, similar to what Marguerite said, and Zoran, I'm just interested in anything TA related, really. I was considering starting the TIF training this year, but I thought, maybe I can have some bit more insights into what that actually means and how this can be applied. So very glad that you'll be talking about that today. And also starting a TA foundation year with Karen next year. I can't wait for that. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Pooja and I'm currently based in Jakarta, Indonesia. And I'm currently training with Karen for TA, and it's been about 3 years now. And also I'm undergoing training for becoming a coach. So I'm looking forward to what you have to offer, Leona. And the question has already intrigued me, so I'm really looking forward to what it has to offer.
Okay. Thank you, Pooja. Okay, I think we've done all the introductions, haven't we? Yeah? Okay. So, yeah, a lot of TA knowledge here. And I was just wondering, who of you are familiar with the resilience donut? Just raise your hand so I get an idea. No? Okay, and functional fluency? Okay, so, and who isn't familiar with functional fluency? You all are, and it's just about I know a lot of you know a lot about it, but it's good to know how far and how deep I have to go into explaining the model. So I will explain it.
Very high level overview of what that is.
You have an overview of what it is.
Very high level, so I'm interested in knowing more details.
Okay, good. Yeah. And good habits. Anyone know about good habits? No? Well, it's in the name, Good Habits. It's an online platform. Well, I'm talking today about building resilience in organizations. And the idea is, when we started off with this project, the thinking around it was, if you build a resilient organization, and also it's an organization which is interacting with community, that would help build sustainable and resilient communities. And this is about a facilitated process for building resilience within a ministry of social development, employment, and welfare. And I'm just going to say it's on an island, and it's an island, how do you say that? it's a small island development state, so it's a SIDS. And this ministry has clients, and the clients are people from certain backgrounds. They need a lot of support and help. And this is about how to build resilience in the organization, in the ministry, excuse me, so they are able to support the clients, well, more effectively. So, and how it came about, I mean, talking about resilience now in this day and age, you know, we all of us probably have some sort of a challenge. I certainly do have challenges at the moment. And the whole COVID situation has also, you know, I mean, talking about an adverse event, the same thing happened whilst we were setting up the project. So I spoke to Alex before and I said, I don't know if I can do this because of the whole situation, or we're not being able to do what we want to do. So I don't know if I have enough, how do you say that, experience and evidence working with organization. But we did actually start, and I think it's very interesting to see how the organization actually is dealing with what they're up against. So I'll tell you a bit more about that. And just you think about your own challenges now, and we'll work with that a bit later. So what I want to do is just walk you through a bit, get a bit of experience how we've been doing this. And we're nowhere near the end because a lot of things have been postponed, unfortunately, but it's just to give you an idea. And I would also like to invite you to make your own connections with TA. So this is a sort of combination of functional fluency with resilience, Doughnut, and, well, GoodHabitz. I'm not going to talk a lot about that. But if you look through the lens of TA, what else can you do? So I would really like it to be, well, especially co-creative, that you think, well, how could you enrich this approach? How could you enrich it? And maybe we could think up a more enriched way of implementing something like this if you're working with organizations. But it can be done on personal level, individual level, team level, organizational level. Let me see. So I'm going to start explaining a bit of how it was inspired, how the organization was inspired to do this. It was really funny, actually. I was at a street party. We do a lot of here on the island. There's a lot of community uplifting activities, and we have street parties, kaya kaya. And what happens is that together with the community, say it's the community in small areas, together with the people who live there, they create things, they paint, they do murals, they think of creative ways how to I'd say that do small businesses, set up small businesses, and then once they've done that, that's a period of preparation. They celebrate it with this street party. So like masses of people go there to celebrate. Unfortunately, that hasn't been happening this past year. But I was at a street party, and we were very happy, and it was really bubbly and so beautiful to see how the streets, how they had changed and how it had become so much more beautiful, and all the people engaged in the streets living there. And I was sort of dancing a bit, and there was music, and there was somebody standing next to me, and a young lady from who was born and raised in Hawaii, had been in Hawaii, and had been adopted in Belgium. And we started talking, and she was working as a quality manager, I think the term is, in this organization. And she just started saying, "Oh, so what do you do?" And then she said, "Well, this is what I do. And actually, we're looking for a tool, a behavioral tool, to use in our organization. And I thought, oh, ta-da! You know, here it is. We have a functional fluency tool. So this is how we got to talking. And about 3 months later, I got a phone call saying, could you please come and explain what it is and present the tool. So I don't know if this was a coincidence or not, but I mean, it was really, really nice the way it came around. So this young lady, very clever young lady, I must say, she'd actually set up this whole idea of building resilience in the organization. And it was actually inspired by the 100 Resilient Cities. Does anybody know that? 100 Resilient Cities of the Rockefeller Foundation. Let me share. I'm going to share my screen now so that you can see, get the information. Let me do that. So let me see. Can everybody see? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is nice and colorful. These are the colors, a lot of color on this island. I'll just see if I can get this down here, because otherwise I have to, okay. So this actually, the context is she was inspired by the 100 Resilient Cities. I've put the link there to the website. Actually, I think there are quite a number of, in South Africa too, there are some cities, you can look it up on the website, you can see which cities are connected to that. So there are different areas like the health and well-being, economy and society, infrastructure and environment, and leadership strategy. And there are all kinds of areas in which cities they focus on, and actually the city I'm going back to, which is Rotterdam, I'm going to relocate back to Rotterdam, is also one of these cities, and they linked up with the island I'm living on now. And she was also inspired by the Sustainable Development Goals of UNDP. Do you know them? No? So there are, this is a lot to do with no poverty, zero hunger, good health, well-being, etc., gender equality. So, well, there's 17 of these goals, and by 2030, that's the idea. Well, all countries should have met these goals. Well, that's quite ambitious, must say. So she was inspired by this. Let me see. And they set up a plan for a resilient, well, it's a resilient island, and it's also a resilient organization. Because, look, the island where I'm living, and you can see here some terms, there was a lot of deficits when it comes to education and income, housing, there's child abuse. In the area where we are, Venezuela crisis, they're being influenced by that. A lot of school dropouts, domestic violence, also in the area of trafficking, women, children, drug trafficking. So it's pretty serious. I just showed you all the nice colors because it's a very colorful island, but on the other side, there's really a lot going on. So the idea is, and looking at the welfare state, so the way it's organized is that they're actually, what they were doing is more of looking after and securing, so not really empowering. So they want to make a shift to uplifting and connecting. And it's actually the Department of Social Development that they really do believe that the improvement of individual and collective resilience within the department will actually lead to a better provision of service to clients who are currently on welfare, and in turn empower clients to become more resilient themselves. And all in all, to contribute to more resilient communities. So this is, I'm just sketching the context here. I'm going to show you a little video, and after that, I'm going to ask you to go into breakout rooms and have a little talk about the video. So I'm just, this is what we, part of what we did with the employees of the organization. So I'm going to start, see if it's going to work.
Into the explanation.
Sorry? Oh. Okay, so this was a short video that we actually showed the employees, because we're talking about people who have been working, many of them working for years in the organization. There are also quite a number of young professionals who started to work in the organization. But coaching, or thinking or working on personal development here isn't something that's very common. It's like more like, okay, you don't get coached because then there's a serious problem, there's something wrong with you. So there's absolutely no attention towards personal development. So this is what we started off with, actually. And now my question to you is, what did you see happening in the video? So I'd like to invite you to just go. I don't know how many people are here, Kirsty?
We've got 12 in total, including you.
12 in total, including me. So we could go out into 4 breakout rooms, and then just have a little talk about, what did you see happening in the video, and then also answer these questions. Maybe you'd like to pin it or take a screenshot so that you don't forget the questions. Do you want me to show you the video again?
I wouldn't mind seeing it again, if that's okay.
Yes? Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, so my invitation to you is just to have a chat about this this video. Have you taken a screenshot, or pinned it, or yeah? Great. So Kirsty, if you could organize that, that would be wonderful.
Do you want to stop sharing your screen for a moment so I can?
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming you're not going to go into a room, Leona?
That's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yes, I won't go into a room. Yeah. And I think about well, 10 minutes.
Okay, so we've got three people. We've got 2 rooms of 3 and 2 rooms of. Oh, hang on, someone's just joined the meeting.
So you can explain.
There we go. So we've got. Okay. So Leona, you'll get a thing inviting you to a room. So if you just don't join, then you'll stay in the main room. Is that okay?
Okay. Yes, fine.
And how long do you want the breakout room to be?
About 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oops.
And also you can talk about your challenges at the moment, or what you had or have.
Okay, here we go.
You say it.
Pooja.
Pooja.
Hi.
Sorry, I just need to make my phone go quiet. It's singing at me. Give me a second. There
Sorry,
we go.
I think I mucked up doing the breakout room. So Leona, you can leave this room if you like, or
Yes.
stay with us. It's up to you. But in 10 minutes, we'll all go.
Oh, are you with us, Kirsty?
Yeah, I didn't put myself in a room, so I just hopped in.
Jumped in.
All right.
Yeah.
My first time doing breakout rooms, I did not get that right.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Anyway, hi, nice to see you both.
Yeah,
you.
nice to see you too. Just by the way, you're still busy recording.
Yes, it won't record. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I think you can pause it.
Yeah, sorry, Justina.
Hope we can continue.
Do you need some more time?
An extra 5 minutes, if otherwise, no.
Yeah, that would work for us for sure.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Some more
That's
time?
a rough feeling, though.
I don't know. Is everybody back? Does anybody do any groups need more time?
No, I think we were okay.
Yeah.
Speaking for myself there.
I think we were okay.
Well, maybe you'll have some more time to talk. But then getting back into the same in the same group, then Chrissy, that might be a challenge for you, but I don't know, maybe might not be.
Do you want me to do that? I can do that.
No, we can do that later because we'll continue.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm wondering what's maybe you could share some of the things you talked about, insights, and maybe share something of your challenges.
I'm happy to speak about my own ones. So some of the themes that came up were being present in times of adversity, having expectations, which I pair with not being present, and I think that's, for me, the video was about being gifted with various things. And in my story of adversity, I initially framed being present as enabling me to find those gifts. And Andrew reframed that for me, saying another option is to receive the gifts. And that's where the theme of expectation came up for me,
Mm.
because finding infers more activity and going out and looking for something, and expectation. So I think in the adversity, that sense of it being a difficult situation is even more amplified if there's an expectation to not experience the adversity, but just being present with it. Kind of like if you have pain, if you're trying to fight the pain the whole time, it just makes it worse.
Yeah.
But if you're just present with it, it somehow naturally diminishes.
Mm. Nice. Yeah. Would anybody else like to share?
I can share a bit about my sense of the discussion around those gifts, the twigs. They can be internal resources or external resources. And for some of us, it was notice what's right under your nose and use it as a resource. And for others, it was actually going geographically somewhere different and finding resources. So interesting, the variety of inner and external, and even how different that might look, of resources.
Oh, that's nice, because we're now preparing for the next step in the webinar. Great, Karen. Anybody else? Pooja, you want to share, or Kirsty?
I was in the group with Pooja. So yeah, what stood out for me is that bump in the road that propelled the ball backwards. And sometimes you feel like those bumps in the road move you back, but actually that's where it found those twigs to become its legs. And so there's something about trusting that obstacles are actually detours in a better direction, that they're going to lead you to the thing that you actually need to make the progress, and trusting that. Yeah, that was kind of coming up for me in my own journey.
Yeah. Anybody else would like to share?
I would like to share. Additionally, what I saw was in just seeing an alternative way, instead of rolling up, converting the twigs to legs. So seeing that alternate way of perspective, which took some time, yet that happened.
Could you explain a bit more?
Sure. Initially, as the ball is rolling up the mountain, so it's going only as if there's only one way to go up the mountain, is rolling for the ball. So as it's being pushed backward, perhaps based on the development or any other additional skills that's being picked up on the way, the ball has learned that instead of rolling, I can use walking as a method. So I can cross the mountain that way. So that is what came alive for me.
Yeah, so there are multiple ways of going up the mountain, say. Yeah, nice. Okay, anybody else? Andrew?
I think two things. So something that I felt quite tickled by is watching the video, and initially when the branches presented, I didn't know what they were. So when the ball then actually went and engaged with them and they became legs, I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. So how I took that is and what I resonate with is in times of difficulty or struggle, how often I'm surprised at what turns out to be a resource or something that is useful, which is always a lovely surprise. And something else that I really enjoyed out of this exercise is getting to hear others. So initially in our group, and then now again in this bigger group, others' interpretation of it. It's So just hearing Pooja now going and sharing her own reflection, I thought, oh wow, I didn't even think about that. So again, being able to try something about translate metaphor or something like that being a really engaging, cathartic process.
Yeah. So yeah, and this also happened with the people we were working with. I mean, it seems like a simple film, but if you then connect it with the questions, and then they start thinking about their own situations, and that was the beginning of the journey, the beginning of, well, raising awareness, because it's just things they hadn't thought about. So is it okay to carry on, or does anybody else want to share something?
Good to carry on.
Right, Sim says, yeah. Okay, so yeah, you already, Karen and Andrew and some of you already mentioned the word resource. And actually, that's a connection between resilience is also resources. And I'm just inviting you also to think about it in TA terms. Because this seems as though it's just about sort of a resilience Doughnut model and functional fluency, but there's much, much more to it. We can really enrich it much more. I'm just thinking about my big challenge. Actually, my biggest challenge up till now in my life had been, I think it was like 2008 when this big financial crisis occurred. There was this big depression that was in Europe at the time. I just had started out my own business and everything, and I was a mother. I still am a mother, but my kids were 6 and 9, and I was divorced, and I'm the breadwinner, and I just didn't have any work anymore, and I just lost my house, and I don't know what. So, I think, yeah, just being present. What Alex said at the time, there's not one single time that I thought I'm not going to make it, or there's something will happen. And it was just like a deep faith, and also thinking, what kind of things can I do? And I had great support coming to me. So, and that has the connection with the resilience Doughnut, which I'm going to explain now. Excuse me. So it was seeing, like you said, Andrew, the twigs, noticing the twigs, and almost actually attracting the twigs that I needed to get out of this really very, well, heavy situation I was in at the time. So I'm going to explain something about the resilience Doughnut. There's psychotherapists here, right? Ionis, and who else? Psychotherapy. Yeah, there you are. I was thinking about the term resilience. It's a term in, do you know when it was introduced in psychotherapy and psychology? Did you understand the question? Mute, unmute. You're muted, Jonas.
Can you repeat, please?
Yes, because it's resilience. You know, it was. Do you know when it was introduced in psychology? The term resilience.
It's a little difficult because my English is not so good.
Okay. Okay, fine. Does anybody else know? No. Well, I'm going to share my screen again. And I wasn't aware of this, but of course I learned a lot whilst doing this project. Can you see? So play from phrase from current slide, not start again. Okay, so you know this is a bit of a mind map. I'm not going to introduce this a bit more. So there was actually has been a trend stating that resilience is an individual fixed trait. And I mean, thinking about it in TA terms, you know, if you think about the basic philosophy, that this would this contradicts actually what TA is all about. And at a certain point, you know, there's been a lot of more research done on resilience, and actually it shows that there's it's more of an adaptive process. So, you know, resilience was actually a term that was used in the industrial world, and it was introduced in psychology through an experiment that had been done in Hawaii, on the island of Kauai. And it was research conducted by Emmy Werner and Ruth Smith. And it was done over a period of 32 years, and it concerned about 698 children. 2/3 of them were considered as low risk, and 1/3 of them are considered as high risk children due to circumstances like poverty and perinatal stress, family discord, parental alcoholism, illness, etc. So the researchers, Werner and Smith, they were interested in which factors in a child's early life set them off on a positive trajectory, and which ones really get in the way of them reaching their full potential. And what they assumed was that the low-risk kids would not do well, but actually it turned out that 1/3 of them did. And that was due to a combination of, there we go, external resources. Karen, you mentioned it. And the external resources the kids could tap into, combined with a number of inner resources. So actually you mentioned it, Karen, it was external and inner resources, a combination of those that actually help them to become very successful in life. And this research and further research was actually input for the creation of the Resilience Doughnut, which is a model, and Lynn Worsley was the creator of that model, and she is located in Australia, so it's from Australia. So the assumption is being actually that genetics are of influence. However, everyone, well, apart from people with brain damage, have the potential to bounce back after being struck by adversity. So this is the explanation of, well, an introduction to the Resilience Doughnut, and in a mind map, I've set out some things. So it's a concept of resources, looking here, concept of resource and the concept of transformation. And relationships appear to form the basis of the individual's resilience. It's about interacting factors that contribute to resilience. There are 7 different contexts that have been identified where potential relationships grow and contribute to social support, self-esteem, and efficacy. It is actually proposed that only 3 of these factors are needed to be strong in order to tip the balance towards a resilient response. And resilient responses would be recovery, sustainability, personal growth. So recovery is actually bouncing back after an adverse circumstance or trauma. Sustainability is actually being able to connect and continue functioning whilst being struck by adversity or trauma. And personal growth, and that's the concept of transformation in it, that through adversity that the personal competence is tested and developed, so that people actually grow. I mean, that we can have great transformative a process going on whilst being confronted with adverse situations. So it's an individual, the resilience defined as an individual or group's process of continual development and of personal competency. So it's navigating and negotiating with these available resources. I think as Pooja, you said, you know, there are multiple pathways towards resilience, and there appears to be a formula, a pattern of interaction that is optimum for recovery, sustainability, and growth. And it is actually about the interaction of positive internal contextual factors that build personal competencies in order for the individual to triumph over adversity. So this is a bit of a theory. Now, I am not an expert on the Resilience Doughnut. This is, I haven't been trained in doing this. This is what I've been sorting out, reading literature and stuff, just because it was a model that was also wanted to be used in this organization. So I didn't know nothing of this resilience donut before I started, but I started to make connections. And then I said, okay, if you want functional fluency, then it would be great to combine it with this model. So it wasn't my idea to use the model, but because it was presented to me, I thought, okay, this is actually quite a nice framework to use combined with functional fluency. Are there any questions about this? No? Okay, continue. So this is the model. And this resilience donut, you know, it's been developed after extensive practical application in a number of contexts with youth in diverse settings. So first it was practiced with children. And it, as I already stated, it depicts multiple pathways to resilience as noted by resilience researchers. And yeah, it just places it into a more practical tool, just like functional fluency model. You know, Leona, my sponsor, always says, like, you know, there's a limitation towards models because you can't really put the complexity. You can't understand the complexity with it through it, but it does make it a lot easier. So yeah, in a way, I do like models. I like using models, but you know, we always have to take into account that the actual reality is much more complex. So as you can see, the shape of the resilience donut model is an inner circle and an outer circle. And the inner circle represents an individual internal characteristics that contribute to the personal resilience. And then I'm thinking about, you know, how have we, you know, in TA terms, is how far developed, I suppose, we are in autonomy, and that we are able to use our well, I would say the positive part of our scripts to bounce back when confronted with adversity. So I have, my personal thoughts are, okay, in the inner circle is I have, I am, I can, has a lot to do with, you know, how we see ourselves and how we are in the world and how we show up in the world. So there appear to be three categories of how a person sees himself or herself in the world, which all contribute to an individual's personal level of resilience. So this is the I have, which is an awareness of social resources. I have. Resilient adults have the social abilities to navigate and negotiate their social ecologies, ensuring they are available, sustainable, and useful at times when they need them. The I am is a sense of self. I am. Resilient adults have a secure sense of self, evident in adaptable behaviors during various life stages. And I can, experience of self-efficacy. So resilient adults have skills which enable them to change their circumstances. So I see a lot of, how do you say that? There's a lot of connection with TA here. So I'm just inviting you to think about this a bit. Maybe we can have a talk about it a bit later on. Are there any questions about this? I'll just do the theory bit and then we can go into interactive.
Leona, I have a question here, Pooja.
Yeah.
You mentioned that implementing it in reality, there were a few challenges. Would it be okay to call out some of them just to get an idea?
It's not, implementing this wasn't, how do you say that? No, I think I've said something different. It's like the model, it will simplify the complexity of the situation. But we didn't really have challenges using this model because people could really easily relate to the model. They could really see, oh yeah, looking at, because I'm going to talk about the various other factors, the external factors. They could actually really easily relate to, oh yeah, how is this situation for me? Looking at all these various factors, and we're going to do a little exercise so you can actually experience what they experienced. Is that okay, Pooja?
Sure.
Yeah?
Sure.
Okay.
I have a question. Do the white dots, do they represent anything or?
Yeah, that's the white dots. You can in a bit when I've explained the external factor, then you can score yourself in the white dots.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so this is what we did with the people we were working with. So looking at the external factors, the outer circle. So the outer circle is divided into 7 segments, and they represent the individual external, relational, or contextual factors. So these 7 factors each contribute to building, sustaining, and contributing to the internal I have, I am, I can characteristics. So I'll show you a bit about this. So the partner factor, it's a strong factor, would indicate a person has a partner who is loving, affectionate, considerate when making decisions. There would also be predictability and security in the relationship. It's a partner factor. The skill factor, strong skill factor would indicate the individual has a skill that they master and feel good about. They may also have a reputation for their skill with people around them. And the family factor, a strong factor would indicate the individual has a family where they feel as though they belong. This may be with the family of origin, which includes parents as well as their own children. And the education factor, oh, sorry, go back. I have to have a look here. Sorry, I'm just not looking at it. Okay, the education factor, a strong factor would indicate enjoyment of learning and an understanding of how to research. They may also be involved in further education or have achieved tertiary training. And then the peer factor, a strong peer factor indicates a strong sense of belonging to a group of friends or close friends. It could also be colleagues. It could be a group in the community. There may be some conflict at times, however, the peers may have gone through some tough times together and strengthened their relationship as a result of this. The community factor, a strong factor indicates belonging to a community group, such as a church, sports club, or another group with a wide range of ages. And the money and also a work factor. The strong factor indicates a strong work ethic, accountability, and value associated with work. Work can be voluntary or paid. So these are the external factors. Are there any questions about these theories? No? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And what I'd like to do is invite you to, I'm going to upload the resilience donut model, and then you can go in breakout rooms again and then fill out in the white dots on a scale from 0 to 10, what you think where you are at the moment, which resources have a high score or a lower score, etc. So I'm going to upload the file. It's a whole organization, this. Let me see. My computer, yeah. I did practice it before I did. Where is it? There we go. So I've uploaded it. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I'd like to invite you to go into the breakout room again, and then have a quick discussion about that. Let me see the time, because we are now 9:15. Okay, we're okay for time. So yeah, maybe, do you think 10 minutes? That will do? And maybe Sim, you can continue your discussion because it's linked to actually probably where you might have left off.
Awesome.
Leona, can I request you to show the last screen one more time?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah, all right. Thank you.
You made a screenshot or pinned it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Leona, I
Yeah?
asked them to open the file, so I'm hoping someone in my group has access to it.
Can anybody open the file?
I
Yeah.
can open the file, yeah.
Okay. So, and Sim, the people who were in your group? Anybody?
It was Rodine and
me.
And Justina.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you open the file, Christina?
Yeah, I can open the file.
Yes. Okay.
Awesome. Great.
Okay, Christy. So could you
10 minutes.
facilitate? Yeah.
Sure. And again, Leona, just don't accept the invitation to the room.
Yeah. Okay. I might get in there. I got in there the last time, but I
Right,
just
so,
unmuted myself.
there you go. Cool. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Andrew needs.
You're back again. Are we all back?
Unfortunately.
Oh. Oh my gosh. Well, it can always continue at a set a date and continue. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think Given.
Two people that joined us.
Hi there, how are you?
Hello?
Thank you for let me see.
Who's
for
talking?
accepting me to this meeting. It's Given here.
Yeah.
Can
Hi,
you all
Given.
hear me?
Good to see you.
Yes.
Hi, Given. Yeah, we're well on our way.
Yes.
Yeah. So if it's yeah. So if it's all right with you, we'll continue.
Okay.
I can hear a lot of children and some noise. Yeah.
Yeah. Thing is, I'm kind of in the meeting right now, but I'm about to leave. But I wanted to join this meeting.
Okay. Well,
I'm so interested.
Okay. Well, if you mute yourself, then we're going to continue because there's I think another half an hour to go, and there's quite a lot that we need to go through still. Okay. So yeah, great. Okay. So how was that? Sim, tell me. You said unfortunately.
Yeah, it was quite. I hate doing these things because I always look at numbers, honestly, and then I'm like, oh, I've got a bad score there, but it's always quite interesting to see where you're at, I guess. And the ladies I was with, they seem to be very much stable. So actually, they are my role models. I would love to have such a perfect life as Justina and Rodine. But also
perfect. I never said it's perfect.
Almost. But yeah, it was good. It was a good exercise. Always learning about myself and also learning about other people and what they're doing. So yeah, we didn't get to finish Rodine's presentation, but yeah.
So, and which factors would you say you'd scored high in Sim? You don't come back again.
Yeah. So my peer factor, my community factor, as well as skill, scored 9 and 8, and my lowest at the moment is family with 4, because I'm quite struggling there with siblings, mom, and yeah.
So do you have 3 factors high, at least 3 factors high?
Yes, peer, community, and skill.
Okay, great. And which internal characteristics do you have that contribute to your personal resilience? That's the inner circle.
Oh, we didn't get to that. Yeah, but thinking on my feet, I suppose I've got a very strong support from friends. So
you have, that's the have.
Yes, exactly. So I have that. And no, Leona, you're putting me on a hot pan here.
Yes, I am, aren't I?
Do you mind frying someone else?
Well, I know you a bit. I know you a bit, don't I, Sim? So I am an open person. I am a creative person. I am. Yeah. Sim is a curious person. Sim. So that's the am. I am, and you can. Yeah, I can sing. I can make music. I can make people laugh. I can make people feel supported. So this is, I do know quite a bit about you, Sim. Yeah.
It's so nice to hear someone say that about me. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
can I ask a question? I was confused about family and identity factor. I wasn't sure why those two would go together, so I was struggling to rate that.
The family and the family factor and?
An identity. It's named together, the family and identity factor.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. I didn't notice that. Really? Well,
maybe it's in the handout.
I don't know. And as I said, I'm not an expert in the resilience donut, so it's something that I'd have to dig into. So it's a good question, and it's noted. Yeah.
I mean, we chatted about some possibilities, but I didn't quite land on a conclusion of where I sat with that.
Okay.
So I just wondered. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So this was a quick. Does anybody else want to share?
Yeah, Liz and I at the end had a very interesting conversation as to did the external impact the internal, or did the internal impact the external? And our sense of that, actually, it was just a never-ending flow. And we both shared moments of working with who am I without my roles, and the power of that. If you take away all your roles, what's left? Yeah. Maybe that comes to the I am in the middle.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah, I am. It's just being without, having roles. It's interesting. Yeah. Anybody else?
So to start with, after a long time, it was so good to see the grades, on the higher scale. And I was so amused about it. So except for this money part, I wasn't very sure how to mark. Is it about as a family, how how much is available, or is it about having enough, or is it about the capability to have the power and own one's own skill and respect the value in terms of money for the work or skill and ask for it and take it? Is it about that, or I wasn't clear, so I assumed it's about me owning up or valuing my work in terms of money. So I had to mark it less because somewhere money is like you cannot ask,
You cannot ask what?
You cannot ask, like, say for example, for a session, if I have to charge, so how much do I charge? Do I give that that amount of benefit for whoever is taking that session? Am I worthy of it, or should we always evaluate in terms of money?
Oh, right. Oh, that's very interesting that you've brought that up. So it's actually valuing yourself. Yeah, I would say that's a combination of internal and external. It's about a combination of, so who, it's about self. How do you value yourself in relation to money? So I don't think you can really separate that. And I was also thinking about, it's a resource. Somewhere money is a resource, and do you have access to this as a resource? But it's also about what is your mindset about money? What's your money story? So I would say it's a combination of things. I remember that I was starting out and I daren't ask, you know, I didn't think I was valuable enough. So how should I ask? How could I ask for this amount of money? Which I changed that, luckily, because, you know, we add value. And I'm also thinking about the money, access to money. That was when I was went bankrupt and I lost my house. That it was a combination of my brother, which is my family, helping me, and actually having enough to share with me at that point. So I had access to money. So I think there are various things connected to the money, and it's not only about work, but I think it's a good point, Rema, that you bring it up. It's also about you know, how valuable you think you are, or what you're giving to the world. Is that sort of an answer? It's just my personal thinking, you know. I don't know if anybody else has any other thoughts about that.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Okay. So I'm going to move on because, you know, it's pushing almost to 10. So, and we have the functional fluency part now. So I'm going to share because the screen again. There you go. So it's, yeah, we've been putting it in a broader context, you know, because every human, this is what I believe, you know, we're on this planet from the moment of conception, you know, we're on a journey, and everything we do is in service of our journey. And this journey can be tough, and for some much more than others. And then there's connection with functional fluency. So, yeah, what do you do when adversity strikes? What do you do? You know, do you respond or do you react? And that's what functional fluency is about. And many of you know functional fluency. So these are two very important questions in the model. And just to explain it a bit, I don't know, I think most of you know it, but anyway, it's a model and it was created by Susanna Temporal. Karen just shared with us her trip with Susanna. Susanna is now in her 80s, and I think has a brilliant mind and is really very, how do you say that, committed to making this understandable for everybody. And it's a model for understanding how people behave. So it's a practical framework for people, to help people respond more and react less, and encourage them to enhance what they already do well and transform patterns of behavior that don't work well. So the connection with resilience, for me, that's my idea, is pretty obvious. What do you do when adversity strikes? So I'm going to explain the model, and bear with me, the people who already know the model. That some of you would like to know more. So in the middle of the model, central, it's a model of, it has 9 modes of behavior. 5 of them are effective modes and 4 of them ineffective modes. So in the middle of the model is a counting mode. And this has everything to do with being present in a situation like Alex was sharing with us, you know, being present with everything that is going on in life, being with it, and making sense of what is happening. And from there on, we could choose our behavior. That could be in a structuring mode of behavior that has to do with guiding others, guiding and also not only others, but also ourselves, which is affective control. The nurturing mode, and that has everything to do with looking after. So it's looking after others and looking after self. The cooperative mode, the effective socialized self. So that is, are we able to connect with others and get along well with others? So it's about relationships, building relationships and cooperating together. And the spontaneous mode is about putting energy into expressing our own self, expressing self, and also, hang on, there's a big, yeah, the truck passed by, it's a bit noisy. Expressing ourselves and also being able to be, be our unique selves. So these are the 5 golden modes of behavior, the golden 5, as Susanna Temporal puts it. And actually, this would assume that we could be effective all the time. But of course, there are situations, we are humans, and there are situations that put pressure onto us. And we could tend to slip into energy. And it's not slipping into a mode, because that's something I'm not allowed to say. Susanna would say, oops, you didn't explain this correctly, because it's actually using energy on behalf of self and others, and using energy and showing dominating behavior. This is all about behavior, and it's not about being, but it's about doing. Dominating is actually, wanting to, it's about knowing better. It's about being doing judgmental. I would say, how do you do judgmental? It could be showing a big punitive behavior towards others or self. And the marshmallowing mode, I always explain it as it's going over, crossing boundaries. So it's either doing too much for the other person, acting in an overprotective way, but it's also about self-denying, not respecting your own boundaries. I remember working with a school principal here on the island, and what she was doing, she was always very tired, and what she was doing was taking on so much work from the teachers. And she said, why don't these teachers do what they are supposed to do? They're not taking responsibility. But that had everything to do with the way she was taking on everything. So this is also the harmful way of care, as Susanna puts it, and it's also robbing people from their autonomy. Compliant resistant mode, that is submissive, depends on how we've learned it as children. As TA people understand that, it's how we've been conditioned early on in life, and how we have learned to actually react to situations. And it could be submissive or actually rebellious. And then there's the immature mode, just acting in a way that doesn't really suit age or the situation. So these are the 9 modes of behavior. And the top, you see, this is about social responsibility. It's about guiding and directing self and others, and looking after self and others. And on the bottom, you see the self-actualization. Actually, you see 3 layers. It's growing up, becoming who you are. It's about surviving, and it's about passing on life. Self-actualization. We need the structuring and nurturing to be able to grow as people. So this is the model, and this is how we very often explain that if we're in purple, or we're putting energy into purple modes of behavior, then we're actually reacting, and the gold is responding. And people who understand this functional fluency model and know how to use it are really better equipped to respond rather than react in all kinds of situations. So in challenging and in uncertain, chaotic times, they use their ability to do complex accounting. And this is a very important part of the model. It's the capacity of humans to reflect, consider, imagine, and problem solve. So automatically, a lot of the time we do things effectively. But when for instance, we're confronted with adversity or whatever, then there's a tension that will arise. And then it's about, okay, how do we do this accounting? So this is something we've been doing with the people in the organization, that they are more aware of how to, or they learn how to do this accounting. It's a very important part of the process. So, important accounting functions are they include assessing what is relevant in the situation and working out what is significant in the circumstances, and also imagining possible implications and considering what needs to be decided. And then comes the choosing of options and necessary conditions for actions to take place. So, and all of this uses energy internally. So it's, Suzanne always says it's about head, heart, and gut combined. And, this is why she says it works like an internal mode of behavior. It's not really observable. And sometimes, it's good, especially when working with teams. I do try to get people to make this an observable thing. So we do it together. So what is going on internally actually is shared in the group. Very often I use Julie Hay's Steps to Success to do that. Do you know Steps to Success? I'll share it a bit later, because actually I found that there is a way to do accounting, because she looked at the discounting matrix and then she created the Steps to Success. So I think Steps to Success is a really nice, concept to use to help people do the accounting. Let me see, where are we in time? Yeah, we haven't got time to go and breakout groups. So maybe you could do a little self-assessment. How many of you have done a TIF? That's the Temporal Index of Functional Fluency. Let me see. I need to see you all. Or who hasn't done it? So 1, 2, 3, 4 haven't done it. Well, maybe for the people who have already done a TIF, and a TIF, that's a Temporal Index of Functional Fluency. I'll go back again, sorry about this. So the model, what Susanna had done is she created an instrument, a behavioral tool, which is the Temporal Index of Functional Fluency. You see the 9 modes of behavior. Each mode has 6 descriptors describing the behavior. And to each descriptor, there are 2 questions have been attached. So there's a questionnaire has been created of 108 questions. So that's 9 modes times 6 descriptors times 2 questions, which is 108 questions. And when people do the questionnaire, then what the results are is actually how they use their energy and how they divide it over the various modes of behavior. And also they get a sense of how effective they are. So this is a validated tool in the UK, but it has actually been translated in 5 languages now. And I remember when we did the training with Alex Andrew, that we said, okay, can you, is it ethical to say it's validated and use it in different countries? I remember we had that discussion. Do you remember? No, can't remember.
No,
I think you were the one who brought it up, Alex.
Oh boy.
But anyway, yeah, what we see is, and I think because it's something that this is not related to really to culture or to origin or to whatever, because this is what we do as human beings. We are born, we grow up, we survive, and we pass life on. So this is what Susanna also always says. This is what human beings do. And working in different countries, it really doesn't matter. It just works, because it's always about, how do people do it? How do people do things? So that's what I love about this instrument, because you can use it anywhere. So, sorry, back again. Where are we? So maybe you could do a quick self-assessment. So how do you think, and for the people who have done it, that have done their TIF, maybe just think how things have changed, how are you doing it now? And maybe also in relation to your adverse circumstance or the challenges you have at the moment. So on a scale from 0 to 7, you could make a little self-assessment. So 1 to 7. 1 being the lowest, 7 being the highest. How much energy do you think you put in each of these modes? And this is what we also did with the people in the organization we're working.
Leona, are we assessing ourselves in the times of adversity and where we believe the energy goes, or just in what circumstances?
In all, you can choose.
Okay.
You know, you can. But what you tend to do, what do people tend to do when you know the going gets tough, or?
Thank you.
And I'm sensitive to the time because, you know, it's another 7 minutes. So I really have to push on now, but this is a little exercise and I would have loved to everybody to share and you know, talk about it, but we don't have much time left. So it's just something for you to yeah, just something for you to take notice of how it works anyway. And if any of you would like to, haven't done a TIFF, then I really invite you to do one because it's really very insightful. And of course, it does depend on the person who's going through the results with you. You know, that's very important. We have special TIFF providers to do that. So like Alex is a TIFF provider. And who else is TIFF provider?
I think
and
Sim is.
Sim is TIFF, yeah. Sim is TIFF provider too. So if you're curious and you want to find out, then if you know, you could reach out to them. I'm sure they would love to help you. I'm a TIFF provider too, by the way. So here's an example actually of the TIFF. It was what it was, the profile number 1. It's a bigger profile, but this is how you would see. I asked you between 1 and 7, but actually the lowest would be 12 and the highest would be 72 in the balls. How do you say that? Circles. And this is just one overview of the overall how somebody would divide energy over the various modes of behavior. So I'm going to quickly continue. I'm not going to say much about GoodHabitz. GoodHabitz is an online training platform, which the organization also used to combine with Resilience Doughnut and Functional Fluency. It's like a triangle because once people become aware of how they do things, aware of their behavior and how effectively they do it, and in combination with Resilience Doughnut, so in which areas, which factors they are strong in, and what they're, you know, that I am, I have, I can, this sense. Together with that, they choose what is, which training is they need to actually get more skills or become more aware, etc. So I'm not going to go into this at the moment, but it's just part of the whole trajectory. So yeah, just back to the case. So I'm looking at it also organizationally, and this is actually how the organogram of the organization is. So there's a Secretary General, there's a head of social development, a head of welfare, and a head of employment. And we were actually only focusing on the Department of Social Development. And how it's organized is that there are various, I call them community houses because that's what the term is in the language here. So there are 4 community houses in the communities, each, they're divided over the island. And then in these community houses, you have the head of community, of the community house, and social workers and young professionals combined. So we were working with these people. In total, it were about 60 people. And then, of course, this major adverse event. So here you see COVID and food packages. I've just circled, made a circle around them because whilst we were busy, this happened. And that's led to major job losses, because the island is dependent on tourists, and also an enormous amount of applications for social support, and all of a sudden the people we were working with were sort of packs of styles of applications that they had to go through, and there was this whole procedure they had to, and they were just, totally like, how are we going to do this? And actually, whilst we were busy, this actually helped, just working with Functional Fluency and with the Resilience Doughnut, it helped them to do the accounting and set up some sort of a plan to get through this really very, very challenging situations. Like daily, there were people crying and angry in the houses of community coming to them, and they had to deal with so much. And this wasn't part of the plan because it just happened. So what we actually did, we did contracting. We did a kickoff with all the employees, so they knew exactly what was going to happen. Contracting sessions, which is of course very important. In the TA, TA is start off with contracting. And we did TIFF feedback sessions with all the senior managers, and TIFF feedback sessions with 32 social workers, and also with the 24 young professionals. And luckily we had, we are working with 12 TIFF providers here, so we could take on a lot in a very short period of time, which was really nice to actually work together. And this is like a quick overview of what we came up with, and also not only us, it were our observations, but people became aware of this situation. So we're looking at it on the individual level. There's a lot of reacting going on instead of responding. There's a relatively high energy drain in all ineffective behavioral modes. People were very anxious, and anxiety that really tends to trigger people to use their energy ineffectively. So there's a lot of complaining and blaming and placating and submissiveness, and a lot of the big anxiety expressed thoughts and feelings. There's also a very old guard, strong, old guard. I mean, the people have been working there for like more than 30 years. You could see that looking at the Resilience Doughnut, there was a strong family factor and community factor. And I put a little asterisk there. The community factor, there was, many of them are very religious, and they go to church. So there was a big support there when you're looking at it, spiritually. But on the other hand, it was also preventing them from taking responsibility for their situation, because they have a saying, it's like inshallah, if God permits, or so they left it in the hands, leave it in the hands of God, and that was actually preventing them from saying, hey, but what is your, what can you do? So they became aware of that. Also the young professionals, they were very strong family skills and educational and peer factors. So that was very high. And there's 2 asterisks there, because they were thinking actually about leaving the country, going to somewhere else where it was better. So actually the strong factor will cause them to leave the organization, whilst they wanted to build a resilient organization. So this was a big danger, actually, a risk, and it was the brain drain that could take place. The work factor in the resilience donut had weakened due to recurring dysfunctional patterns. And there was quite a lot of discounting going on of own capacity and resources to change the situation. So in the I have a bit, and discounting of own passions and talents and skills. So it was really nice talking to the people and letting them see, like one, for instance, she just totally lit up when she was talking about her skill in baking cakes. And actually she realized that this is something she would like to do. So instead of working there. So that would also imply that people who find, really see and go for their passion and talents, that's also that would be a step for them to also leave the organization. Well, anyway, on team level, actually saw sort of the same thing going on. There was a lot of energy going into dominating and marshmallowing, but it was caused by anxiety. And there was also lack of structuring and nurturing. I'm not going to go through everything. And also an organizational, this is what you see, there was a lot of demand actually from the minister, from the top, and a hierarchical structure, and the three departments weren't cooperating at all. And there were silos, and the organization was just not making use of resources and potential and skills. So actually something that started at the top of the organization, and it starts at a political level even, it just sort of trickled through the organization. And there was a lot of awareness raising. A lot of people started to understand, hey, we have to do things differently. So you can imagine if the people working, the social workers in the community houses, if they were reacting, so what were they doing with their clients? Because they were in survival mode, and they were reacting, they weren't really empowered to empower their clients. So this is all what has been, how do you say? The people we've been working with have got this insight now. So this is the strength actually of using these two models, that people start to think about, hey, but what is the situation? How can we respond more together instead of react? And Anders talked about the account. Yeah?
Sorry, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I'm just conscious that it's already 4 minutes past 4. We were meant to finish at 4. So if anyone has to run, we will upload the recording of this. So that you can catch the end. I just wanted to interject at this point, sorry.
Does anybody need to leave now? I think another 10 minutes.
Yes, I have to rush off, Leona, but I'll catch up in the recording. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much, Leona. I've really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I do have to go. Take care, everyone.
Thanks. I need to go as well. It was great to see everyone and work together today. Take care. Bye.
Okay.
Me too. Bye-bye.
Oh, everybody has to go. What a pity. Is anybody staying? Who's staying?
I'm staying first. No, I have to go as well, Leona. I'm so sorry. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. I should have, but anyway, I did my best to get it all fit in.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Who are we with now? Okay. I'll just continue, okay? Everybody can just
continue.
And, okay.
Sure.
So this is the accounting with the steps to success. So this is, I just acknowledging, which is the situation, acknowledging and accepting the situation, significance, assessing what is relevant and significant in the situation, imagining possible implications and considering what needs to be decided, choosing of options, and then identifying needs and skills and necessary conditions for action to take place, planning and implementing strategy, and then I said the golden 5, put that, so that's the using the other modes, the effective modes of behavior, and then success, having an understanding what will have been achieved when action has been taken in a functionally fluent way. So this is how we worked with the people in the ministry. And we did this on individual level and on team level. So the results up to now, I know there's a higher level of self-awareness among leaders and team members. A number of people have actually reached out to TIF providers for further support. So, taking responsibility for their own personal growth. The head of operations set up a collaborative project to reduce the stacks of applications for social and financial aid to acceptable proportions, because they were just really complaining and trying to get it all done. But they made use of resources they had, like colleagues, other organizations to help them. They set up a room with all laptops, and together they worked and got all these applications out of the way. So, this was really nice to see how all of a sudden they were taking responsibility and collaborating together and finding out ways, how can we do this so we can actually take steps ahead. We organized a management team session with the objective to start up a team development trajectory, and a meeting with the Secretary General to talk about structure and dynamics at organizational level is going to take place. So, considering what had been, what we've been working against and everything, this is quite an outcome. And the Good Habits training, what are the next steps? Good Habits training group, that's a group training followed by supervision with functional fluency and TIF providers. It's all about awareness raising and learning new skills. And also the Resilience Doughnut group training is also about awareness raising and connecting strong factors to build resilience, and together with who you are as a person and how do you respond instead of react, and setting up personal action plans. And on team level, we're doing the team development trajectory and train the trainer program for the social workers of the community houses so that they have skills in helping clients to tap into their inner and outer resources to build resilience. And on organizational level, I don't know, it depends on the outcome of the meeting with the Secretary General. So that is a big question mark. And that was the end, and it was so sad that I couldn't get it all in sooner so everybody could have finished together. Anyways, so you who are still here, any insights, takeaways, ideas, suggestions? I'll end the slideshow.
Getting some insight about how you've mapped this program together. It sounds like a really authentic integration of different models coming together. And I'm just so struck by how interesting that a global pandemic happens in the middle of something that is so authentic and integrated. And if there's something, that thing about like at least this was happening kind of thing, but it was such a difficult time. Just amazing that there's something so enabling and grounding to support what sounds like a community that's really hard struck.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, it's been really tough also to stay present with what was going on whilst we were doing it, because there were so many factors that were against us, and how every time we had to change how we were going to approach it, because the plan in the beginning is so now was so different than it was going to be in the beginning, and it was just adapting the whole time. So in a way, I'm like still happy that we've got so far, but we don't know how it's going to continue. Yeah.
I was really struck at the beginning when you said you played that video to the community and asked those questions about what a respectful and empowering way of beginning a piece of work. I'm reminded of Paulo Freire's approach. Don't tell them what's going to be good for them, kind of provoke them to think. And I'm sensing that might be why it's been so effective as well, or one of the reasons, because you didn't come in as from that place of superiority. It was like, what do you want? What's coming alive for you?
Yeah. It was really very. We also worked with actors. There's a lot more we did. We worked with actors because the culture is very. How do you say that? They like play. They like theatre. So working with actors and also working on the functional fluency, we have big mats on the floor, and they can play out situations together. So they're standing on the mat and they move around, and the actors, there's a big humor. They put humor into it so that it's not so confronting. They just laugh and they say, oh, I recognize myself in that, and it's really great to work with actors. It's so, and it's, it's uplifting because of the humor too. And, it's for us people to, when we're very critical towards ourselves, and just look at it and say, and have a good laugh, not laugh at what you're doing. I mean, it's always very soothing for me too. Like, oh, come on, don't take it. Remember Andrew in the training cell, don't take yourself so serious. Yeah. So, and also was because I'm CTA organizational, so usually I come in from and work with leaders and try to figure out what is the structural level, what's going on relational level, what's going on psychodynamic level. But people there, they didn't have a question. They weren't thinking of, we have to develop as an organization. We just want resilient employees. So actually coming in from a really different perspective and being able to raise the awareness that they actually had to do something within the team and the organization to change. So that was for me also an eye-opener. I didn't have to come in with my TA knowledge to do it. Yeah. So any other takeaways or insights or ideas?
I really like the idea of how using their own go-to method, like you said, theater or drama. They like the form of artwork in spite of whatever difficulties they have, challenges they're surrounded by, and using that mode along with other tools to get across.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
I don't do much organizational work myself, so I found it quite fascinating to hear about your approach and how you brought in these different elements and worked with people at different levels as well. I think is quite important. Not that I have experience in that, but I can see how that would be very important. So yeah, so I found the whole thing really fascinating, and especially the resiliences piece, the donuts. It's brought out some thinking in me around like, what are my different resiliences and what can I lean on in different situations. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that video exercise as well. Very visual. So for me, that was like, wow, that's a cool exercise to do. Thank you.
Yeah, you can use it. You can use it. I'll share the presentation.
Cool.
Yeah.
So thanks, Leona. So Rodine, so I think like colleagues have also said, for me, what's been the eye-opener is the integration between different models. So I was very curious to see functional fluency with the resilient donut. And I think from what you've told us and what you shared with us, the community has been empowered. And I think that's what functional fluency is about, is the empowerment and them really using tools to work it out for themselves. So that's, I think, been really successful. I just wanted to ask, how long has the project been going on for? So has it been quite a long project? I don't know if I got that from you.
No, we actually started in September. We were going to start in January, but then of course the whole COVID situation and everything. So we started in September, and actually we've really reached this point in a very short time. Yeah,
that's excellent. Sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 2 years in the making.
Well, the
So that's
making,
excellent.
the making, yes, but actually being able to implement. And I think that the resilience donut is also about relationships. And for the first time, the people were able to tell their own story. You know, so with the TIFF feedback session, they were getting, they're all trained also in, you know, they're very permissive and the protection and also the potency. So these the 3 Ps, using them in the sessions with the people. I tiffed all the leaders, and it was amazing, their stories. And it's the first time, you know, they were actually able to share in a way that they could just express themselves. And this was very new. And I think this was really helped them to trust the process more, because they were getting this attention. They were getting recognition. And we also had a lot of laughs. Like I think Rema, you said about the money bit. That was one of the team leaders. She was rather confused or upset because she thought she wasn't getting the recognition that she deserved. And then, you know, we talked about, so yeah, but how do you do, you know, what do you really love to do? And she really loved to play bingo and games of chance. And she was extremely lucky. So somehow or another, she always won. So she was like winning so much money. And she just lit up when she was talking about that. And I just really had to laugh. So it wasn't really the work, and she got her resource was being with peers together doing this bingo. Well, you know, little stories like that that I thought, okay, so what's your skill then? How do you win so much money? What do you do? She said, well, it's in our family. We all have it. Anyway, it's just a little story. I love those stories. So it's a relation. I think the relation and the genuine interest that really helped them to feel comfortable enough to think about themselves. Yeah, and I think that's the power of functional fluency and the power of the TIFF provider. Actually, it's that's very important. How one does it, you know, how you relate to the other person. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think, has everyone shared a reflection? Because otherwise I'm going to need to go soon and I'm recording. So I think we'll need to wrap up. Is that okay for everyone? Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you so much, Leona, for your time, for your presence, for your knowledge, for sharing so openly with us. It's been a very rich experience. So thank you from us at SATAA and to everybody who joined us. It's been a wonderful way to spend an afternoon together. Thank you.
Okay. Still morning with me.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I hope it was of value to you. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Kirsty.
so much, Leona.
Thanks, Leona.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.